Look, folks, you either one of two things. You'd have X thousand fewer teachers here, or you'd have to raise property tax. I just came from another state. I had the hard numbers we were given. State of Virginia would have had, I think it was Virginia, I've been in so many states lately, 8,000 teachers saved. Without the 8,000 teachers, property taxes would have gone up $2 billion in the state. So guys, I love these guys who say, what are you doing? Why this act is a disaster. Okay guys, no problem. I had Mr. Cantor, one of the leaders of the Republican Party, decent guy. The minority leader in the House, decent guy, Republican. I went to both their districts. They did press conference before I came up with a lawsuit. So they said, okay, no problem. I know what y'all are against. Tell me what you're for. And let me ask you voted against this? Do you think? You got to take this. It's not about the partisan piece. It's about, we got to do something. Some Democrats are against. What are you going to do? You're going to let those unemployed people not have unemployment insurance? You're going to say to the state of Nevada, the state of Delaware, the state of Montana, we're not going to help you with your Medicaid, dropping people off the rolls who are the last resort? What are you going to do? Lay off all those cops? Crime goes up when the economy goes down. So folks, the point I'm trying to make here is we listened to those economists. It wasn't just us. We didn't just come up with this. But we're not done. We're not done yet. But independent validators, from Moody's on to the econometric models, asking university professors here, they all acknowledge that we have created now, thus far, or saved somewhere between 1 million and 250,000 jobs. But that's hard to push, guys, when you have an announcement last month we lost 246,000 jobs. The point is there'd be over 1 million more unemployed but for this. The GDP would have grown roughly 2% less in the second quarter and 3% less in the third quarter had it not been for what Harry pushed through and his colleagues. But you listen to the critics. They know what they're against, but no one knows what they're for. I'm not being a wise guy. Think about this now. Why don't they say what they're for? Because you know what they're for. They're for the basic economic philosophy of the neoconservative economic people they listen to. I don't mind a debate, but I like an honest debate. Tell me, what would you have done? You don't like this, what would you do? How would you do it? A third of the tax cut, a third of this package are tax cuts. A third are counter-cyclical things for the states, and a third are his projects. I'm not being facetious. You and I are simpatico, high-speed rail, geothermal, sun, we're working hard on wind, alternative energy sources, weatherization. There's where the jobs are, there's where the good paying jobs are. But I wonder what these guys are for. You know, if we had not acted, as Harry said at the front end of this, there'd be, and I'm going to have a number to announce. And the reason I can be able to announce the number by the 30th, part of this act, and I admit I've been a sheriff, I have been very hard on the governors and on the mayors, as the mayor knows. They got to account for every single dollar we gave. This is the most transparent program in the history of the government. You can go on right now, recovery.com. You can click onto a zip code. You can narrow down on a map we have out there to 6th and Vine. And if there's supposed to be a crosswalk being built, you'll be able to know how much we gave, who the contractor is, and whether, not a joke, go on the website. It's the most comprehensive website in history in the government. Now here's the point. What's going on now is every dollar has to be accounted for. So, every mayor, every governor, every county executive, has to report in exactly what they did with the dollar, describe the project, who's doing the project, how many people are employed, when will it be done. Well, look, there were some bogus numbers put out yesterday about how many jobs created around the country. And they had Nevada, but very few, and Rhode Island, very few. The only thing that's reported in so far are the 5% of the contracts that were government contracts. We were able to get our departments to report in immediately, but only 5% of the construction projects are construction projects that the federal government does, primarily on military bases. Now, we have created, as a consequence of that, tens of thousands of jobs, but they're located where the bases were, they're in the toughest shape. Only 5% has reported in so far. So all this garbage about, you know, what wasn't gotten so far by these states. 5% of the contracts have been reported. By the 30th, you'll be able to go on that website and see them all and count the numbers. Look, we would have 12 million people without unemployment benefits, millions, tens of millions without health care, all across the nation. We're making progress, but let me tell you what it means in Nevada. 400,000 Nevada seniors and veterans got a check for $250, one-shot payment, totaling $100 million coming into the state. Ladies and gentlemen, that did two things. It gave relief, particularly to seniors who aren't getting the cost of living increase right now because the economy is down. But what it did, it kept a whole lot of barbershops, beauty salons, sandwich shops, gas stations open because it poured $100 million. In this county alone, more than 62,000 people received that one-time payment. Because of our Making Work Pay tax credit, 1 million Nevada families actually collected or received $500 million here in this state. Now, guess what? They don't even know it. We didn't advertise it. But any of you who get withholding tax in your paycheck, you notice you get $60 a month more on average. I had one guy in New York who was doing this. He said, yeah, he said, my nanny came up and says, thank you, sir, for the raise. Write the letter to Harry. Seriously, $60 a month. People don't know. And it's okay they don't know, as long as it's helping them. But guess what? It's poured $500 million into the bloodstream of the economy. More than 190,000 Nevada residents have extended and expanded unemployment benefits. Where would they be? Where would those 190,000 people be today without that help? And where would the general economy be if those 190,000 people had no income? Had no income. Over 4,000 education jobs have been created or saved right here in Nevada because of the Recovery Act. Nevada teachers, school staff, education programs. What would your property taxes have been absent that? I assume you fund your by property tax. Not every state is slightly different. The Recovery Act has already made about $187 million available to help prevent additional Medicaid cuts in Nevada. These are people who have nothing else, folks. They get Medicaid. These are people below poverty in real trouble. Nationwide, more than $4 billion in Recovery Act funding has gone toward hiring police officers, purchasing new equipment like bulletproof vests, developing new security technologies so the cops are keeping their neighbors safe, and keeping themselves safer, which I think is an important obligation we have. 39 transportation construction projects were started here in Nevada with more than $163 million obligated that are underway and have not reported in the jobs they've created. And that's just in Nevada.